Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry. There's a link if anybody wants to come in. What a morning. What a morning. What a morning. So, good morning, Lag. Good morning, Junk. Good morning, Mackenzie. Good morning, Steven. Good morning, everybody. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I got to see. Okay, Lag. Can you hear me, Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't know what was up with that.
Yeah, on your side, everything looked normal. That side looked fine, but YouTube was getting no data, no nothing.
Yeah, and I've never had that even with StreamYards. I never had that problem before. It's no telling. I was listening to Golden State Picker this morning. Are you having a problem sending stuff into Amazon?
Nah, but I haven't sent that much in. I send maybe one shipment a week. I'm doing one today.
Because apparently they're running out of space again.
Oh, they crushed everybody's space. They cut a lot. Most of your. I haven't looked at mine, but most everybody I've talked to got lost 60% of their storage capacity.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a lot of stuff being sent in because we got like 4 here in Charlotte or in the Charlotte metro area.
The problem is they are so full of this Chinese, all this private label Chinese bullshit.
Right.
Their answer is to order a pallet or order a full container full of it before they've ever, whether they know whether it works or not. Because Amazon storage is, they don't touch it. They preach just order it from China or straight to an Amazon warehouse and you'll never have to touch it.
Right. And
they're charging new fees for the fourth quarter. There'll be but it's only a matter of time before that becomes a permanent fee for the year round.
Right.
They don't do things. Okay.
It's just they're going to start looking at. Well, I'm surely they're looking at what's being sold and what's selling. And good morning, Diane.
I was allowed to send in like 8,000 or 9,000 units.
Yeah.
I can now send in 1,600.
Hold on just a second.
So this is what you get as resellers when they tell you, oh, we're going to pay these people $15-$20 an hour. We've got untrained masses who put item A in a box, in a warehouse, and that every time they say we're going to raise the minimum wage or whatever that means, or we're going to unionize or we're going to do whatever that means, that you're going to pay more fees. That's what that means.
Are you selling a lot fulfilled by you?
Yeah, probably a third.
I didn't know whether there was
Like,
for a while there. Everybody, good morning, Texas Val. I didn't see you. I'm sorry. For a while there, everybody was private labeling everything.
yeah,
And
and
I thought to
Amazon,
myself, well, sooner or later, this, warehouse space is expensive.
oh, Lag's right. Lag said Amazon's becoming known for cheap China junk, and that is so true. I mean, it when you look at their search is so bad that when you for the exact item and model you put in search, it can be fifth or sixth down the line because they've sold the search, and there'll be 5 items in front of the thing that you're looking for that are just remotely similar because of a keyword they've sold.
Right.
And it's all this Chinese mess brands you've never heard of that now there's 1,000 reviews how wonderful this shit is, and 10 of them are verified. That means 10 of them have been purchased. It's becoming a big problem for them, and they don't seem to care anything about their reputation. There's other platforms that are going to come available. I mean, Amazon's a behemoth, but when I was growing up, you never thought there would ever be into Sears. Sears was a behemoth.
Right.
Those of you who are not old enough like Tom and I to know these things. There's some of you in the chat. They're saying, well, in the 70s, it was the Sears Christmas catalog. You thought Sears was the end all be all. That catalog that came to pick out Christmas toys. And then you had the 80s were dominated by Kmart. These are two Leviathans you can't imagine going away in a short 30 years. They're done.
And there's hundreds of very popular department stores that are gone. Woolworth, Woolco, those were big department stores down here, and they're gone.
Oh wow, Bum Cracker! I had not heard that, Bum Crack Picker. He says, "There's a memorial for Nate every day. I'm hustling." What happened to Nate? That's it. He was a young fella. He was probably in his early 30s.
Wow. That just shows that you never know when your time is up.
You never know. He was in a car accident. Wow. That's awful. He was. I enjoyed watching him and what's his name? Went off into cards, and they had sold a lot of cards. He was from Pittsburgh.
But you're right. These big companies come and they go, and they just don't. The saying about too big to fail, not in retail, you're not.
No, and not in restaurants either. Restaurants are even easier to pick out. Look at the ones the chains that have gone. I mean, look, and these are companies that were around for a year.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to love going to Woolworths 5 and dime. That was like Walmart and Kmart before there was Walmart and Kmart. You could get a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
And they were on their way out, and I didn't know it because I was so young. But they had been around for 70, 80 years.
And kids today, or people today, if they would just totally freak out if there wasn't a Walmart, because that's what everybody knows is Walmart.
Yeah, because Joni, when anytime we mention Kmart stuff, she has fond memories of her mother. They had the little deli area where you can get pizza and hot dogs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was shopping wasn't like it is today. You didn't go. It wasn't like going to Walmart every 5 minutes. Going to Kmart or something like that was max once a week. That was a big deal back then.
My mom on Friday mornings during school year, after we went to school, we were off to school. My mom went and got her hair done, and then she went and bought groceries for the week. There
Right.
wasn't running because we had a red and white local in our area. There was no. Good morning, Beth. There was no running to the grocery store every day. And then when we were not in school and we were little, we would go with her and we would sit and look at books in the waiting room of the beauty shop, and we had better be quiet or there was hell to play. And then we would go to the grocery store, and we didn't mess with stuff. We did not have to hang on to the buggy, but we did not run around touching everything. And but now, if it was, what is it, Walmart and Target? That's pretty much it. Good morning, Chicken Toad.
There are some local ones. If you live up north, there is a competitor. The original Supercenters. What's the name of somebody in Michigan or wherever? Tell me what the name of your store is.
Like Merritt's or something like. It starts with an M. Or is that their version of Lowe's?
No, that's Menards is their version of Lowe's. The one in the Northeast, it's in the Midwest. It's like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. I'll think of it in a minute.
But the stores. I mean, the restaurants. We've got several restaurants that we just will not even place orders at anymore because their dining rooms closed and they still can't get the order right. You know what I mean? I mean, God forbid and these are big chains. I don't know what they'll do when they have to open the dining room back up when they get some employees. But you say you're getting another order put together?
James is Meyer. I just came to me. You're right. It starts. It's Meyer.
Yeah.
Because I remember my dad was from Michigan. My grandparents lived there, so we would go to Michigan once a year. And as a kid, that was a huge store. We didn't have anything like Meyer. Meyer was the combination of grocery store and everything before Walmart really stole that idea, I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's the first ones I remember. There were no Walmarts in North Carolina. Walmart came to North Carolina years later. So I saw them, but I never went into the deep South. Growing up in North Carolina, I didn't go towards Arkansas or anywhere where Walmart was growing. Walmart took a while to get into North Carolina. It's everywhere now, but
I'm getting old. I just totally thought just went blasting out of my head. But around here, unless you get to the to the mall, to the high dollar stores, you're shopping pretty much at Walmart or Target. Of course, you can go up to the South Park and go to the the really expensive Nordstroms and stuff like that. But who the hell shops there besides Beth and this probably Lag.
I had to refresh. I forgot that I had my laptop in the other room and I forgot to turn the Wi-Fi off so the hard wire would pick up.
You're up in the house?
Yeah.
So you've got a big order going out today? Or you get packed up today?
I don't have anything going out today. I try to ship Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That way, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I can get a break.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing about it is, Lag. Just about everything we get from Amazon these days, unless it's one item and it might not even be the right item that's in the box. We usually have extra stuff that we're not supposed to have, or we don't have everything that we're supposed to have. And that shipping, no matter how cheap they're getting it, that stuff starts adding up after a while. I don't know what a Salvos is, Anissa. Is that
I don't either.
is that a Walmart or is that a Goodwill? I've never heard of it.
I don't know. Let's type it in and see. Salvo stores.
Oh, Salvation Army. The they're still having, apparently we've had an increase of new hires. Oh, Salvation Army, okay. We had one Salvation Army near us and it closed down. When they closed it down for the corona, they never could get it open back up again. And I have a niece that manages the one up in Black Mountain, and she can't keep people because it's work. Because I mean, even with even just doing what you're doing here, it takes work. It takes effort to go find everything to sell, and then when you sell it, get it listed. That's the reason a lot of people they quit. I mean, I've tried to help some friends get started and selling on eBay, and then after a while, they're like, it's just not worth it. It's too much work for the money you make. So I think that's going to be a big problem.
The problem, people have to have the desire and something they want to do. I have found it extraordinarily hard to explain to people, what I do and what I've done full time for the last since 2013, and relay to them that it can be done. But it's a real job. It's work. You end up creating a job for yourself, which is fine if you work for yourself, but it's not something that you've got to develop a passion and you've got to enjoy it, because if not, it'll be like anything else you've ever done, and you'll be looking to move on to the next thing.
People just don't want to work now. And touching on a sensitive issue is this pay back all these all these free student loans that are going to be paid off. Well, people are starting to wait. When they started throwing around $300 billion, and it's got to be paid by somebody, and the United States government gets all their money from the citizens of the United States, that means that we're the ones that's going to pay for it. And it's starting to, I think it's really starting to sink in, because I've seen several editorials in our liberal newspaper here about people, I don't know if that's a good deal. Why should I pay for somebody to get a degree that they can never make enough money to recoup their expenses? And hopefully people are starting to think about it, because you're not going to live off of welfare or not with Social Security, but welfare and those kind of giveaways.
You can
and
survive.
live a celebrity's life.
You can't survive, but you can't thrive, and they're not designed. And that's the problem with the younger generations think that they're entitled to not to have to work, and they should be because we've given them so much. And they see all these celebrities, all this crazy, and they think that they see them, all they do is rap. I should be able to, government or whoever should give me money to do what I want to. It doesn't work that way.
Well, it's going to end up. It's not going to be the trickle down theory. It's going to be the trickle up theory. When people can't afford to go to the movie or buy, I start to say albums. Nobody in this chat knows what an album is, except Mr. Sadie probably. They can't afford to buy their music. They can't afford to pay for Netflix and things like that. Celebrities are not going to be able to they're not going to be making money because they're not going to have any income streams coming in. So whether you want to live like them or not, I mean, how many of them have gone busted? They've gone bankrupt with all the millions that they've made. Everybody needs to start thinking about themselves and what they're doing, the realism of it, and get your own money under control because, like Landshark said in Econ 101, there are no free lunches. Somebody's got to pay for it. Yeah, that's me. I only look on the sunny side. I want everything to be puppy dogs, kitty cats, and roses, the big rainbow. But and with all the economists saying that we are going to have a downturn in the economy, people really should start looking. I mean, I was in our supermarket, and the manager happened to be stocking some shelves because he doesn't have any help to help stock shelves. I asked him, I said, why do you not have any like frozen potato products? And he's like, because we can't get them. And I said, is it just your store or is it all the stores? And he said, they only have a certain amount, so they're splitting it up. Sometimes we have some, sometimes we don't. They're just rotating distribution amongst their stores within their company. No, I don't see it getting better. Lag. When your mama cuts off your allowance, you're going to probably think different. She don't have any money. The housing market. Yeah, that's me. I do sound like somebody's grandpa, but I remember back in the 70s, my dad was a land surveyor, and when those 18% interest rates on houses hit, nobody was buying houses because nobody could afford the interest rates on it. So real estate went down the tube, and because my dad was in the real estate, was a land surveyor, we ended up with a lot of lots the developers gave him in lieu of payment because they couldn't afford to pay. And so once like 10 years later, when everything was leveling back out, he was able to sell them off. And some of them he held the paper on to sell them off.
Yeah, I sent Harlan a message. Neither one of us knew that Nate had passed.
Okay, that's all right. But then, back in 2008, it did another nosedive. And they're saying that we're getting ready to have another real estate nosedive. One thing people need to realize, interest rates go up on houses a couple of points, but prices of real estate is coming down.
Yeah. So a guy I was reading, I talked about it yesterday, 20% correction is what he expects. Because if you look at it, a $500,000 house now due to interest rates will cost you an extra $900 a month. It would take a $365,000 house to equate to the same payment. And so he says he's like, wait, if you're in the market to buy a house, if you wait 6 months, it's going to be amazing how much you can save and how much more house you'll get, because the price correction is, the houses in this neighborhood were selling same day and have been for the past couple of years, and there's 3 of them on the market. 2 of them have been on the market 6 weeks. The other one just came on this week.
There's a lot of people that sold their houses when they were getting premium price for it,
Yeah,
and they're living in apartments now.
Yeah, Harlan
And
cashed
they're
out.
waiting it out.
Yeah, Harlan did. He had a big old house by himself. It was 2,500 square feet, just him. So he sold it.
Yeah, but like most people can't pay cash for houses, except for like Scott and Todd, and those people with big pockets.
I got a stack of Monopoly games over here. If they'll take Monopoly money, I'll pay cash.
It's and people, there's all these videos on YouTube about hot side hustles and all this kind of mess. The one thing that they always seem to forget to say is you've got to be willing to do the work.
Correct. And as a society, we're not willing to put the work in. It's gimme.
I got a friend that he's got probably about a $250,000 a year job, if not more. And he's got 4 teenagers, and they all drive, and they have a little hot dog business. The little carts that you see, they hooked up behind the hot dog grills and whatnot. You can hook up to the back of a car and take to a location, and you got everything, cooler, grill, whatnot. They got 4 of those things. Those kids made some damn money during the summer off $1 hot dogs. And because he told his kids, you got a choice. You can make them enough money in the summertime, and then the festivals we do in the fall and spring, that you don't have to go push it. You don't have to go to McDonald's and deal with people and whatnot. So they were all a little hustling during the summer, selling hot dogs at factories and places like that. And now during the school year, they can kind of take it easy. He, of course, said, you got to save what you make, or save a great deal of it of what you make, so you can get through the lean years. And that's the thing I don't think people are doing, is saving for the lean times.
Yeah, I forget what it is, but you see the things. I could Google it, but so many people in the country, if they had a $1,000 emergency, couldn't come up with it. I think it's over 60%.
Right. It's people just people have got to save some money, or set it back for an emergency. And besides, the reselling on eBay is not difficult. It's got too many things that you got to do. You've got to list. If you don't list, you don't have a business. And that's the pot calling the kettle black right there. But you got to do it. If you don't do it, nobody else is.
I was watching a TikTok the other day, and it was this. It went around and asked people what their car payments were, and one guy had a 2022 truck. The payment was $975, and he was proud of this, acting like it was some kind of badge of honor. And I'm sitting there thinking, "Holy fuck, what an idiot!" I mean, there was of the 6 people they asked, 5 of them were above 700, 4 of them were above 800, and 2 of them were above 900. I'm like, holy, what do you do with a $974 car payment?
If we're going to take Roberta's got a Mazda CX-5, and it rides good. I'm not jumping in that thing and heading to California in it though, because it's a little car. You have a little car ride. My car, I run locally around with it because it's got 135,000 miles on it, and I'm not paying for an overinflated price car. So we call Enterprise and we get a that gum Lincoln or
and pick it
a
up.
nice car to drive on long distance, just so it's a comfortable ride. I'm not putting up with no $900 a month car payment.
I mean, I'm like, if that's what it's, and there's no telling how many years they financed that for just to get there. Uh,
Probably
it's probably 8 years. It's
you can finance a car for 10 years now, because they tried to get Roberta to finance hers for 10 years, and she's like, no, I just want to finance it for a couple of years because I haven't bought anything on time in so long. I need to just kind of give my credit reference a little bit of a click, because if we don't have the money to pay for it, we don't buy it, because it's just, how many people were caught with their pants down when COVID hit right out of the blue and the economy went to shit,
well, and there, if you believe what you read, there's a lot of foreclosures and a lot of people are going to get kicked out of a lot of places because they've not been allowed to do that. Now all of a sudden they're allowed. The courts have come in and said you didn't have the authority to say you can't evict people, and so now evictions are starting to happen.
Yeah. And
Lag, you're right. It wasn't COVID. COVID exposed it, but it wasn't. It hasn't been COVID. These people have been.
COVID was the thing that brought everything to light about how thin people are running financially.
One cat. Those are some of the best. So those are some of the best TikTok, Lag. The guys that I want to do that. The guys that ride around with the pickup trucks, they got the repos on the back of them. And I was falling asleep last night because I'm limiting myself to an hour before I go to sleep, before I can touch the damn TikTok anymore. And one of the last ones I watched where I went to bed last night was this guy. He kept up on the screen. I got her once. She moved an hour away. I'm about to get her again. And picked up the same car for the second time.
And it's not like it's repoing is not like it used to be. These guys come out there with trucks now that can pick a damn car up off the ground and set it on the back of their truck and drive off with it. They're not worried about unlocking it or trying to get into it or anything like that. They just back up to it, pick it up, and drive off with it.
No, these new ones are just pickup trucks that have a smaller boom on them. That when it goes down, it has two things that go around the wheel. That even from the side, it picks the car up. Well, you don't even have to get out of the truck. And you can secure the wheels down the street. But to get out of there, I mean, they just roll in. And if it's depending on front wheel drive, it's got to go forwards or backwards. They'll just pull it out into the street and then immediately set it down, back up around it, and pick it up from the other side and leave. I mean, they're gone in 30 seconds. It's not the big rollbacks anymore where you hear them.
Right.
It's just a pickup truck. Unless you hear that boom moving a little bit, it's fascinating to watch those guys. One of them calls himself the Repo God. He's like, I've watched him get them out of backyards and everything else. He's like, no, this is going to stop me. And then the other one to watch is you can rent. Did you know you can rent to own a shed like for your backyard?
Yeah.
And they'll come repo them. Have you ever seen one of them? They'll ride on the little thing and it'll go under and pick the shed up, and they put wheels on the backside. But these things are strong enough where they can pick it up over a fence and then set it back down and then drag it out of there. Those are to see them repo a building is crazy.
I just, years ago there was a TV show, and I mean, this was way back there, like in the 80s, about people that were repossessing cars. And, they would get shot at, windshields blown out, all that kind of stuff. That is a crazy way to make a living.
And so, okay, so the craziest one is there's a TV show on one of these cable networks, Airplane Repo.
Oh,
And
yeah, I saw that.
the guys that repo airplane, I mean, they're not showing you the actual, they're showing you recreated events. But man, the repo an airplane and get something up, you got to have a steel set.
Yeah, there was one of them that they couldn't. They went into it. It was inside of a locked building. They got it out. They got the doors unlocked. And one guy saying, "Okay, we're going to have to push it out out of the hangar to before you crank it up." And the other guy's like, "Beat that!" And he hit those switches, the power switches, and started powering that sucker up. Because once he moved, fired that first engine up, he had to start moving. He needed, by the time the other one got warmed up, because they were usually expensive. You saw it,
Right.
twin engine jets or prop planes, and by the time they got to the end of the runway, that other one better be up and running and be hot and ready to go, because they don't waste no time once they crank those things up.
I think the one I remember the most is that the guy he went and repoed an Alaska plane from, because in Alaska there's all these small planes. The most small planes in the country are in Alaska, and something happened and it failed on the way back, and he landed that thing on a glacier type mountainish, and then repaired the engine and then took off again from the side of that thing. That was a cool show. Where's Todd? Todd is
where Todd's at this morning.
He's getting his pre TSA pass.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So they don't. You can go and file the paperwork to get a pre-authorized TSA pass. But you have to go to an in-person interview where they interview you, right, and then they give you a number. So when all these sad suckers are in 100 people line, you walk right by to the pre-screen and give them your number and get through security. No, there's no scan. Joni's got it, because Joni has a tendency to cause people issues when she goes through these scanners and all this crazy, all the metal in her body and back, and doesn't, if she has to wait in a line of 100 people, oh my God, am I going to listen to some grief? So she skips the line.
Well, that's another thing. It seems like one day after another, the airlines are having issues. They're having, people are fighting on their planes. People are, just showing their ass. It's just one thing or another, or airlines are making bad decisions. That's another thing that's going to go. It's going to go away. Is once they deregulated airlines, and everybody started flying. Used to be not everybody just jumped on a plane like they do now. It's going to get to the point where they're going to have to get rid of some of these planes, and because everybody doesn't have the right to fly. And I'm not talking based on race or sex or sexual orientation.
I'm talking about pocketbook.
Huh?
People don't realize,
yeah,
buying the plane is just the first step. I mean, unless you're your own pilot, and then you've got annuals that have got it that are expensive. Fuel is expensive. Things, yeah.
My dad was one of 5 owners of a Cessna 172 in the mid 70s. 5. There were 5 of them, because nobody flew full. People.
It would just sit there.
We would fly back and forth to the coast. That kind of stuff. Some other people. It was just, recreational flying. It took 5 of them to feel comfortable owning this damn thing, because of the tie downs and like you said, the annuals and all the crap that goes with it. Planes are expensive. And that's the reason that there's places like, well, not NetJets because they own their own planes, but there's companies now that they are chartering people's jets just to try to help make the expense of them, pay the expenses on them. No, that little 172 was the size of a Volkswagen Beetle on the inside of it. Now, mind you, we could go from Rock Hill to Conway, which is normally about a 3-hour drive. It'd take you about 30 minutes, but it's expensive to have those things.
So when y'all went that way, you were out surveying the land.
Do I?
Yeah, surveying your father's land out there, make sure the serfs were doing what they're supposed to do when you went by.
That's right. But if you look at old videos or old movies and things like that, when people flew, people were dressed up. It was a special occasion, and everybody was dressed up, suits and ties and dresses, and the kids didn't look like you just drug them out of the playground. And if that's being snobbish, I'm sorry, but it was a big to do. And I think that's the case. Problem we have now is that there's nothing that's really special anymore. Everything's just the norm. That's right. That's right. By the help, I will tell you what. I never, ever use my influence as being the owner's son. Except one time, and this guy started giving. He was an employee. He started giving me hell about something that it was none of his business in the first place, and he didn't know what he was talking about. And I must have been about 16 years old, and he must have been about 35, 36. He was old, and I looked at him. I said, "You better remember who you're talking to." And but I'm just, no, I didn't. I never took advantage of my dad being the boss.
Oh my God. I watched a movie. I was testing a DVD, a Blu-ray player the other day, and I ended up watching Django Unchained. And that was all because it was set back in the slave days. And it was master this, master that. That was the craziest movie. If you don't have a thick skin, don't watch that movie. If you're offended easily by language, you should avoid that movie.
If you don't have thick skin, you should be watching the news. You should be watching YouTube. You should be watching anything, because nowadays everybody's going to.
Yeah, I think they ended up taking the ban off of my monetization yesterday. Let me go check and see.
Scott's such a bad boy.
Let's see. It kind of went away there. I'm like, well, damn, they had it on there, and then they took it off. They took it off. It stayed off. Woohoo! I'm gonna make like $4 now. Woohoo!
I'm sure there were snowflakes back when I was young, but I don't remember it. Maybe in the California and New York, places like that where they have a really liberal mentality. But in Rock Hill, South Carolina, no, where just about everybody was a mill worker in textile mills.
The internet has made such brave people out of people who should never be brave, and all this crazy. I listened to a guy, his podcast. His name is Kramer Says is the podcast. I think it's Tim Kramer. That dude, he's like, I grew up. My father was a minister. He was the church fixer for one of these Episcopal. And so he said we moved a minimum of 2 times a year, every year from the time I was in school all the way. He said I never went to one grade of school where I didn't switch schools at least once. He said, and that's hard in high school. You would come into these high schools and you were the preacher's kid, and the first thing they want to do is test you. He says, we live in a time of bullies. He said, the one thing I know, if you hit them square in the mouth, they don't do shit. They will leave you. You've got to learn to punch the bully. I mean, some of these people just you've got to stand up to them and put them in their place, or you get Karens. You get these screaming ass crazy Karen women. And there's some guys too. I've seen Karen guys too. What are we calling them? Kens?
Yeah. Yeah. People just, I don't know. I just don't like being around. Being, I just don't like dealing with those people. And
I'm
I've had to
glad,
deal with a few in my life.
I'm
And
glad I'm living.
you being what you used to do for a living, I know you had to deal with a bunch of them.
I put up with yeah, but I can tell you this, and I ain't, don't mess with somebody who makes your damn food. That's all I can say.
Yeah, yeah, Beth, I did.
Do
I
not
admit it.
do not mess with somebody who makes your food.
Here's my attitude about going to a restaurant and paying tips and whatnot. All I had to do was sit on my fat, lazy ass in that chair and tell them what I want, and I want them and to bring it to me. And we always do it with a smile. And I've never really had an order messed up.
I mean, there'll be little things here or there, but nothing that's.
Yeah, I never really have. And see, I don't identify. It's like we get into big discussions about Fords and Chevys. I don't understand why people talk about Fords being fixed fixed or repaired daily. I don't understand that, because my dad had hundreds of Ford trucks for his business, and we never had problems with them because they were serviced. I don't, all these people with having problems with restaurants and whatnot. I mean, lately we have, and that's just been they haven't gotten orders right, because I don't know why. But for takeaway. But I guess I'm just been lucky that I don't have to deal. I haven't had problems with it. I was watching one of the guys I follow on YouTube that is a big cruise person. He was talking about all the fights that's been on cruise ships lately amongst passengers, just getting drunk and getting into a fist fight. They're going to start. You're banned for life. You get into a fight, you're banned for life. And usually, it seems like if you get banned on Carnival, and Royal Caribbean gets word of it, or they might have some kind of exchange of data, they'll ban you too, which is good. People need to start taking responsibility for their actions. But like I said, if the server, excuse me, keeps my tea glass full or my Diet Coke glass full, I'm happy. As far as the server, because the server has nothing to do with what's going on behind the house. But I just think people have just gotten so. It's all about me. It's all about me. And no, it's not about you. If it comes between you and my family, you're just going to get left on behind, because I don't care.
Correct. It's crazy times, man. And I think we blame a lot of this on. I know a lot of this because of the breakdown of the family, but crazy stuff happened even the 70s and 80s. You just didn't have the internet to hear about it 24/7. These Karens didn't just show up today. They've been these crazy ass people have been around always.
It's you can tell, baby. Yeah, that's two that you've seen. Yeah, people just get too self-important. I just no, it's not all about Tom Lack. I just don't bother me. Do your own thing. Don't bother me. And these people that gets up, these people that get in other people's faces and shouting and screaming, you know, about this, that, and the other. I think a lot of that's all drama for YouTube. Because if somebody gets in my face, starts screaming and shouting, I'm just going to hit 911 and have a police officer come out there.
See, you got to know the laws where you live. So Tom lives in the pseudo South. I live in the deep South. Uh, Alabama, you can defend property and your life with deadly force. We are not, we are a stand your ground state. I mean, Alabama and Tennessee and Florida, there's some of these southern states that you better watch the hell out, because you're going to end up like Rittenhouse did 2 or 3 years ago. That dude's the king of fuck around and find out. They went after a young man, knocked him to the ground, and were trying to get rid of him. And everybody I know except Harlan in Alabama has a gun.
What did he do? Sell his? Or is he a liberal?
No, he's not a liberal for sure. He's just never been into guns, never.
Well, see, that's just it. I've never carried anything about having like long guns, shotguns, rifles, because I don't hunt. So I never saw a need to buy it. Well, nowadays, people better have one sitting in the closet because you might need it. Once again, things are changing.
Um,
Yeah, everybody needs to move to Alabama.
So Alabama gets a lot of knack for education. We've got bad areas and stuff like others. If you look at the state of Alabama, the bottom corner near Louisiana, Mississippi drags down this entire state. That bottom corner is so economically depressed, and all the schools are awful. And so because you look at like a Huntsville, they picked Huntsville as the number 1 city living in the nation. We've got advanced schools. We've got everything here, and it does not feel. It feels like it does not feel like you're in a. I've been in regular Alabama. I've lived in regular Alabama. This is not it. It just isn't. But you've got all the advantages of low taxes and everything. So the violence comes from Montgomery and Birmingham. There's 2 bad areas of 2 big cities. That's it. The rest of the state.
We have some good parts of Charlotte, and we have some not so good parts of Charlotte. Charlotte just about covers the whole county, and the south of New Jersey, John. I hate to say it, but I just think it just goes back to what's going on in that area.
See,
I mean,
John Jones, Alabama is the only state in the nation that'll issue concealed carry permits to 18-year-olds. We're not the same. When we moved to Alabama, Jacob was 18, and I drug him with me. Actually, we went the license. We had to go to another county and get our licenses because it was so backed up in Huntsville. But then once that, I filled out the forms. He's had a concealed carry since he was 18, living here. I don't know if he's ever even carried a gun, but he has that option.
It's sad that it's getting to this state. The most prosperous country in the world, and we're at this state.
We're definitely on the backside.
Yeah.
Unless something happens to change it, we're definitely on the. You can study history. You can study the decline of all these great civilizations, and there's no doubt. the more you become a welfare state, and the more the few support the many, and the depravity and the violence. We have all the hallmarks that we're on the backside.
Well, if the South succeeds again, the South shall win because South Carolina has a missile weapons depot that has more missiles in it stored in it than any place in the entire world. Back when I was a little kid, we would have hurricane uh, drills because hurricanes might sneak up on us. You know what I mean? Once a month, we would have those, and we'd have to go out into the hallway and hunker down and whatnot. You know, I've never known a hurricane to just sneak up on somebody. You know, it was just because of that damn big ass missile base over there that had all those nuclear missiles and regular missiles and you know, so the the war might end up a different way now.
Yeah, I like Decatur. I go over there probably once a month. I do a lot of retail arbitrage over there. Decatur is very nice. It's a Decatur. I-65 runs from Chicago to south to the beach, and when it comes through here, it comes 25 miles to the west. Decatur is another 8 or 10 miles, so it kind of splits between Decatur and Huntsville.
When you say the beach, you're talking about like one of the Alabama beaches.
Yeah, the Gulf beaches. Yeah, 65 goes all the way down there. It goes down to it goes down somewhere near Mobile when it ends. I think it ends right at I-10 or a little on the other side of I-10.
By the way, if Valerie Cunningham's listening, happy birthday, girl. Um, but yeah, you know, you have your good and bad. Charlotte school district is just all messed up, and they're always wanting more money. They need more money. They need more money.
Yeah, there's so Shamrock. There's plenty of lakes and ponds and stuff, but right up against Decatur is the Tennessee River. A lot of people fish the Tennessee River. I don't fish at all, so you're asking the wrong one. And if you look at the geography above, Decatur has a huge waterway that runs up and over to Florence and the Muscle Shoals area. There's lots of water.
If you're a fisherman, if you see a swimming pool full of water, you'll fish. A friend of mine's grandfather would come down to visit, and he would sit out by their pool with a fishing pole, with a bamboo fishing pole with just a lead weight on the end of it, and throw it out into their pool, and just sit there. And there we go, Grandpa, what are you doing? There's no fish in that pool. He's like, I know there's not, stupid. Do you think I'm a dumbass? He said, it's just the actions of fishing. You know, it's relaxing. Let your mind go numb and that type of thing. Yeah, Mr. Sadie, we know you fish. That boat's got 3 inches of dust on it because you hadn't used it in so long because you've been out making money and whatnot.
Yeah, so Huntsville's gotten extraordinarily expensive because of the rank as number one, and we've had a 30% growth right now for 20 and 25 years. I mean, it is the number one tech market for jobs and all this. So, you know, all these high paying jobs and stuff. Huntsville's gotten very expensive, but Decatur is still very affordable. You know, there's everything over there. It's a nice size city, and Decatur is still affordable. So
that's Alabama.
Yeah, if you move to Huntsville, you better have a little bit of change. You better have a little bit of change because Huntsville's just gotten crazy with everything else. But the prices have gone up, but everything else. I think the average 2-bedroom apartment is north of $1,500.
Oh, that's way the hell up there. I thought it was I thought it was down there by the coast somewhere, but that's like
What,
right there
Decatur?
with you.
Yeah, it's right up there with us. I'm telling you, I only live 10 miles from Tennessee.
Dang if you don't.
Look, I'm in Meridianville, north of Huntsville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to drive 9 miles just to get to Huntsville.
No, oh, the Redstone Arsenal. Oh, I'm looking at a map. Now, what part of Huntsville did Dusty live in?
Right on the mountain. So if you look at Huntsville, there's Highway 431. I live north on 431. 431 comes out the bottom of Huntsville going south.
Right.
It goes over the mountain. So on its way out of town, Dusty lived right off 431.
Oh, okay. Have you heard from their kids or talked to their kids any?
I have not. I drove. I was over that way the other day and drove down by there, and none of their cars were there anymore. So I don't know if that's still, if they kept renting that or not.
Right. I hope they're doing okay. Yeah, Huntsville, that was Space Center, wasn't it?
Still is, yeah.
Yeah, I thought the way you were talking about, I thought Decatur was down there by the coast.
No. Decatur's
Yeah, right there at
like
Huntsville.
37 miles, 37 minutes. It's like 24 miles, but there's no straight way to get there.
It looks like it's like very. It looks like that lake.
That's the Tennessee River wrapping around it.
Yeah, it looks like that the Tennessee River separates it from Huntsville.
Yeah, Interstate 65 does too. You've got it. There's a spur 565 that goes from about 5 miles to Decatur all the way into Huntsville. So a lot of people live in Decatur and work in Huntsville because it's a straight shot on the interstate spur.
I bet that traffic's a bitch in the morning.
I don't know. I'm sitting here talking to you while they're all out there going crazy.
That's like Rock Hill South Carolina is a bedroom community of Charlotte. It's on the other side just on the other side of the state line.
Yeah,
in the morning about 8 o'clock, the traffic is backed up from Charlotte all the way to Rock Hill on I-77.
Power source is not charging.
Yeah, a while ago you were talking about car payments. These people, which we have the Panthers, we have the Hornets, and we have some soccer team now, pro soccer team now. So we have an abundance of Ferraris and Rolls Royces and Bentleys and things like that running around town. I just would hate to know what the car payment is on a $400,000 vehicle. How long is a pay period, baseball? If that's 2 weeks, then that's not too bad. If that's 1 week, damn.
If that's 1 week, you don't have a life.
Yeah.
This crazy computer says it's not charging.
It's
It's telling me to service the battery. I'm like, I ain't spending no money on this thing. Do they not? I know how cheap I am.
Do you have Mac?
Yeah, it's a 2019 computer. It shouldn't have any issues.
Do you have a laptop or you have a desktop or whatever they call their non-laptops?
It's a laptop.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
I need to get a new laptop, and I've I'm leaning towards a Mac for a laptop because all I'll do is do this kind of stuff with it and some other odds and ends. I won't do any like gaming or anything like that on it.
It says battery is not charging. Yeah.
Bob Evans, I like Bob Evans because spills don't upset us. We had a Bob Evans near us when our boys were little, and of course, you got 3 little boys. They're going to spill something, and where Roberta and we would be going, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Their wait staff would go, "Oh, don't worry about it. This is a family restaurant. Spills don't upset us unless you're drunk." And then that kind of irritates us. You know, James, uh, our our friend Bridget, because I think she's Scott's friend too. She's got a Mac laptop, and she just loves that thing. All right, I need to get out of here. It's been an hour and 6 minutes. I've bored you people enough. Thanks, Scott, for coming on here with me, helping me get the technical issues straightened out. And I guess Todd will be back tomorrow. So if you don't know, it's Todd, me, Scott, me, Todd. So on Wednesday, it's on Scott's channel. Scott, you doing anything at night? I guess he locked up. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Try to make some money. Stay out of trouble. Have a great one.